Good evening. Another beautiful day in North Las Vegas, but we welcome you to our City Council meeting this evening and our Redevelopment Agency. There are 4 public forums set aside for public comments, one at the beginning and one at the end of the Redevelopment Agency, and one at the beginning and the end of the City Council meeting. If you wish to speak, please complete one of the blue cards which are located on the table outside the main entrance where you entered, or on the podium rail to my left, which will be your right. Please give the card to City Clerk. She sits right here. And then she will pass out on us. We ask if you speak that you limit your comments no more than 3 minutes and that we avoid repetition. So we're going to start the meeting. We'll go into redevelopment meeting and we'll reconvene into the City Council meeting. So, Madam City Clerk, are we in compliance with the Nevada Open Meeting Law?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we are.
Thank you very much. Tonight we have the opportunity to have a uniform, our invocation given by our own Councilman Scott Black. Following him, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mayor Pro Tem Richard Churchill. Please rise.
Our Father in heaven, grateful for this beautiful day in our city of North Las Vegas and for the opportunity that we have to assemble in this wonderful building to conduct the business of our city. We're grateful for the blessings that have been bestowed upon North Las Vegas and our residents. I ask a blessing upon those that live in our community and the surrounding areas to have peace and happiness and safety during these coming weeks of holiday celebration. I pray for guidance and direction to be with the council, that we may make choices and decisions that are beneficial to all, and that we can be wise in the choices that we make. I ask a blessing upon our public safety, our first responders, our police and fire, and all that work for the city of North Las Vegas, that they can have pride in the work that they do and that they can be fulfilled by the work that they perform on behalf of our residents. And this I pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Please remain standing. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Appreciate that. That always starts our meetings off correctly. We're going to move on to council items. Councilman Barone.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I'm happy to say that we're going to be having breakfast with Santa at the Neighborhood Recreation Center. A couple of weeks ago, of course, we had the Thanksgiving festival here just a couple of weeks ago. But on Wednesday, December 22nd, from 4 to 6 p.m., we'll be having breakfast with Santa at the Neighborhood Recreation Center. And enjoy, well, it says from 4 to 6 p.m. I think that might be a typo, but because it's supposed to be breakfast with Santa. I'm not sure when we have breakfast from 4 to 6 p.m., so maybe that's a little bit of a typo here. Anyhow, let's just say this. We're going to have a visit from Santa. We're going to have live entertainment, arts and crafts. There will be a small charge, but it'll be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Mayor Pro Tem Churchill.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to announce that the real Santa will be at Skyview YMCA on Saturday, December 18th, from 10 a.m. to noon. So don't be fooled by the imitations, okay? Come, enjoy breakfast. There'll be photos with the real Santa, and do some holiday crafts. And I think there's a small charge attached to him, flying in, because the gas is very expensive now. So we hope to see a lot of people there for that event. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, not to be outdone in figuring out who the real Santa is, Councilman Black.
Just so you all know, Councilman Churchill Santa smells like beef and cheese and sits on a throne of lies. That's from the elf. The real Santa will be at the Silver Mesa Rec Center on December 18th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., spreading holiday cheer. It's going to be a great event for the community. We have a super turnout in the past. Families come, seniors come, children come, and it's really a wonderful experience. And the night before that, I'll probably be on the naughty list for Santa, because I'm going to be dancing it out with the seniors at the Christmas ball at Silver Mesa Rec Center. So the seniors are so excited to have live music, food, and dancing. I'm going to kind of brush up on some of my moves, and no cameras allowed, and we'll be there hanging out with the seniors at the Silver Mesa Rec Center.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Goins-Brown.
Well, I'll just let you know that I had a private conversation with the real Santa, because he told me that he and his wife, Mrs. Claus, will actually be here tomorrow. So I got all of you beat. Ha! So tomorrow at 4 o'clock, right out here on Liberty Park, we're going to have our Multicultural holiday celebration. And it's going to be a free event for families, and they can learn the meaning of Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and Christmas, and also enjoy hot chocolate, cookies, and candy canes. So we'll have pastors here that will explain the meaning of Hanukkah, of Kwanzaa, and the true meaning of Christmas. And Santa is going to say, you guys are on the naughty list because you're talking about him. I got to cook up. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Well, now that we've done and made those announcements, council items, we are going to adjourn this meeting of the City Council to the meeting of the Redevelopment Agency. Chairwoman Goins-Brown will take over from here.
Thank you, Mayor. We are moving on to the Redevelopment Agency First Public Forum. Now is the time to speak on any posted Redevelopment Agency agenda items. Madam City Clerk, do we have any written comments or callers?
No, Madam Chair, we do not.
Thank you. With that, I will close the public forum. Moving on to our extremely long agenda.
Item 3, approve City Council regular meeting agenda of December 1st, 2021 for possible action.
Redevelopment Agency.
Oh, I went to the wrong
You
page.
jumping ahead.
It was so short, I wanted to try and make it longer. Item 1, approve redevelopment agency regular meeting agenda of December 1, 2021. Chairman Goins-Brown and agency members, it's our recommendation to approve the agenda as published.
Okay, any questions or comments? If not, I'll call for a motion.
Move to approve.
That motion passes. Moving on to the consent agenda.
Chairman Goins-Brown and agency members, the redevelopment agency consent agenda consists of items 1, staff recommends approval of the agenda as published.
Questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Just move to approve.
And that motion passes. So, with that, I'm moving on to the second public forum. Madam City Clerk, do we have any written comments or callers?
No, Madam Chair, we do not.
Thank you very much. With that, I will close the public forum and now adjourning this meeting of the Redevelopment Agency back to the City Council meeting and to Mayor Lee.
Thank you. And for the viewing audience, we have redevelopment agencies where we take care of agenda items that were within that agency, but we have by commitment to that agency, I think it's once a month, isn't it, Councilman? And so we have those meetings. Sometimes they're real busy, sometimes they're not. This month wasn't, but I expect January is going to be very big for you guys. So moving on to the first public forum, this is a time set aside on posted agenda items excluding public hearings, which will be heard separately. So if you want to speak on any items listed under the consent agenda and business, now is that time. Madam City Clerk, do we have any blue cards for posted agenda items or callers on the phone?
No, Mr. Mayor, we do
Do
not.
not. And anybody from the public that would like to come forth at this time? Seeing no one coming, we will close the public comment and we will move on to the agenda.
Now we're ready for item 3. All that talk of Santa just got me so excited. Just confused. Item 3, approve City Council regular meeting agenda of December 1, 2021. Mayor and Council, it's our recommendation to approve the agenda as amended, with agenda item number 21 being removed from the agenda.
Thank you very much. Councilor, any comments or questions on the approval of the agenda? If not, the chair will take a motion.
I'll move for approval of the agenda as amended.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved. Moving on to the consent agenda.
Mayor and Council, the consent agenda consists of items number 4 through 19. It's our recommendation to approve the consent agenda as published. I would like to call attention to items 9 through 14. These represent individuals that have recently either joined the team or been promoted to the team, and each and every one of them is just a tremendous team member, provides tremendous leadership in the city, and we're just tickled pink to have them and welcome your ratification of them tonight.
Thank you. This is the time we'll ask for comments from the council, but I think I'll lead on this. You have some wonderful people that you have brought into the city leadership. And as I look down this list, there's no one that isn't at the top of their game. You've done very well at hiring great leaders in the city, and I want to commend you for that and also commend those people. for being the type of people that make North Las Vegas a great city that we're trying to prepare for the future. So, Council, any other comments or questions? If not,
One thing that Mayor, one thing that I really appreciate is, again, it doesn't seem that long ago, but I guess, in conversations, you had your vision as to the way you believed a city government should function, just government in general. And you have most definitely molded your vision and made it a reality here, working with some fantastic people who are responsive to the unique needs of our city. You brought in talent, we brought in someone who was supposed to be an interim, for this is just one example, someone who's supposed to be an interim person. Turns out we had a pretty good gem, and that a tribute to the wide net that you cast out there. And I really appreciate the diversification that you've had of our upper staff. And it's been your leadership, of course, that has brought lots of stability, but also allowed your people to go ahead and, as you say, run with no saddle on, and run hard they have, and we've been able to outpace many of our other friends here in the community. So a lot of that has to do with your vision, and I most definitely commend you on that.
any other comments or questions from the council? Ms.
Mayor, I'll just piggyback a little bit on that. I just love the idea that when I come to the 9th floor, that everyone is calm but diligently working. I can walk by offices and, you might be in there talking to yourself or whatever you're working on or whatever project, but it's just like the conversation that you're having either with yourself is about the city. And it's just like, it's invigorating, and it's just like you get an adrenaline rush just coming in here, and just like everyone is so focused on what can we do to make the city better? How can we move it forward? And just the innovative ideas on how we get these things accomplished is just astonishing to me. So thank you, each and every one of you and all your department and your teams for working so hard.
Any other comments or questions? Oh, Councilman Black.
I just have one quick comment. So we can observe from the inside how things are going, but it's also very telling when someone makes a comment or an observation that's unsolicited from the outside. And ironically, just earlier today, I was speaking to someone who has been around the city from the outside looking in for a number of decades, and has just told me unsolicited how he sees the climate, the culture, the professionalism that is present throughout the city that wasn't always the case during the course of time that he's been involved with the city. And so that there just really speaks volumes about the capacity of talent that we have here, and the leadership and the commitment to doing the right thing and doing it with the right attitude. And so I just thought that was pretty cool that he made that observation and shared it with me just today.
Councilman Churchill.
Yeah. And very quickly, I'll just add to, can't really add much to my colleagues over here, what they said. I make it known every time I speak to somebody outside the city and to our employees over here that you really are the backbone of what this city does and where we're going. The vision, we're the face of the city as council people and mayor, but the reality of it is without your knowledge and hard work and due diligence in what you do and give us that guidance, we definitely wouldn't be where we are. Although I am a little concerned about when I went to school many years ago, I think it was 200 years ago, I went to Catholic school, and I was told by the nun that all of the troublemakers sit in the back of the room. So I don't think that's the case here, but I just wanted to share that with you. Okay. Thank you for what you do.
I'm just looking at everybody
They're all
in the back of the room.
Yeah. In the back.
I think Tom Brady's as far back as you can get. I don't know. I think he's a great guy. I don't think he's a troublemaker. Thank you. Without any more comments, now the chair will take a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items are approved. Madam City Clerk, I direct you to set any hearing dates as necessary under the public hearing dates.
Mr. Mayor, so noted.
Moving on to public hearings, item 21 has been moved to the next agenda, it sounds like, so we're going to blow through that and go on to moving on to business.
Item number 22, discuss interaction regarding annual review of proposed amended contract of City Attorney Michaela Moore.
Well, we need a presentation from our legal team here.
Mayor and Council, I am honored to be before you as your city attorney, and I am extremely proud of the accomplishments of my office in the past year. I'd like to give some highlights of the highlights provided to you. My office continued to assist with important decisions in the second year of the pandemic response. Multiple internal policies and procedures were created to ensure the safety and health of employees and the public, including return-to-work guidelines, changing state mask requirements, and vaccine incentives. Despite the ongoing pandemic, the city did not shy away from continuing to take bold actions to improve and benefit our community. The continuation of SNUMA into the new school year is a remarkable achievement that we are happy to assist with, and I'm especially proud of the stance our city has taken to be involved in the education realm. The other visionary concept that has been if not the highlight of the year, is the creation of a diversionary court to complement the positive missions of the Community Correctional Center that we established last year. And those goals are to improve rehabilitation and reduce recidivism. Under the leadership of Judge Chris Lee and Court Administrator Aaron Tejas, the CARE Court has had many positive impacts to the community already. For the first time that anyone can remember, the municipal court held bench warrant quashing events to assist members of the community responsibly take care of their outstanding court issues. In another first, the municipal court launched Nevada's first night court to accommodate those who may need to take time off or have child care issues. My office drafted the ordinances creating the new court and, under the guidance of Senior Deputy City Attorney Deep Swami, prepared comprehensive guidelines and recommendations for CARE Court. We have had a positive relationship with the municipal court in implementing the court's many innovations and to transform lives within our community. Earlier this year, the 81st Nevada legislative session was held, and my office reviewed the 1,035 bills and resolutions that were introduced to determine whether there was any impact to the city. And of those, we monitored over 283 bills that potentially could impact the city. All of the city attorneys contributed to this effort to assist the legislative delegation. The city presented 2 bills this session. AB 10, our vehicular manslaughter bill to increase the penalty to gross misdemeanor, unfortunately failed to advance out of committee despite valiant efforts by Senior Deputy City Attorney Marissa Rodriguez, Senior Deputy City Attorney Rion Jarvis-Denman, Deputy City Attorney James Smedley, and Deputy City Attorney Amanda Matier. AB 55, our charter bill, was signed into law thanks to the collaborative efforts of Senior Deputy City Attorney Rion Jarvis-Denman and Government Affairs Director Jared Lute. The ability to call special meetings with fiscal impacts is one of the most important changes and provides the city with flexibility to conduct its business, especially if there is an emergency. After the session ended, our office, especially Superstar Senior Deputy City Attorney Rion Jarvis-Denman, worked with Government Affairs to summarize and roll out the changes. Chief Deputy City Attorney Noel Idesmore and the Criminal Division provided several updates and trainings for PD on the changes that affected them. The biggest changes that affect my office include the requirement to hold jury trials of 12 jurors for certain domestic violence cases. Renovations are underway to accommodate a jury box, and we have applied for a grant to hopefully add another prosecutor. Another big change is the requirement for pretrial release hearings to be held within 48 hours after a person has been taken into custody. This has necessitated the addition of hearings on Saturdays, and the criminal division attorneys are rotating monthly on who will conduct the hearings and make arguments at the new weekend sessions. I want to thank Senior Deputy City Attorney Deep Swami for his leadership to ensure we can meet our obligations under the law with our existing staff and resources. I also want to give special recognition to Senior Deputy City Attorney Andy Moore for his enormous help with negotiations and various agreements related to infrastructure projects to really open up Apex. Economic development is hot all over the city, but especially in Apex, and it's very exciting to see all the new businesses and opportunities sprouting up there. Senior Deputy City Attorney Marissa Rodriguez continued to rack accolades this year. She was named a Women Business Advocate by the Urban Chamber of Commerce's 2021 Women in Business and Politics Awards. She was also appointed by U.S. Senators Cortez Masto and Rosen to serve on the Southern Nevada Judicial Commission for vetting and nominating candidates to the federal bench. Marissa also won a seat on the Nevada State Bar Board of Governors. She also frequently volunteers at city events during the year, including vaccination events and winning a competition to spread the word at Broad Acres. Thank you, Marissa. Assistant City Attorney Claudia Aguayo has had a tremendous year as president of the Nevada Latino Bar Association. On top of her many duties at the city, including assisting with the successful CBA negotiations with each of our bargaining units, she invested many hours to serving the community and received a lot of recognition for her efforts. Notably, Claudia received IMLA's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Award and the Nevada State Bar's Volunteer of the Year Award. Claudia also was a speaker on diversity and inclusion at several events throughout the year, including as a panelist with Nevada Supreme Court justices. And Claudia and Marissa together also further raised awareness of the Andale 5K race to help Latino students pay for admission test preparation courses, which can run up to $2,000. Now in its third year, and thanks to many city participants, with a special shout out to Ms. Candy King, and Andale surpassed prior years and raised over $100,000. Needless to say, I love my whole team, all the attorneys and support staff. I could gush about each of them. I would probably be running a presentation longer than Darren normally does. They are each so smart, dedicated to the city, kind, fun, and funny, and the successes of my office is really due to them. But I'd be remiss to say that I really love our whole team here at the city. All of us, collectively, are the difference makers to effectively take on the city's challenges and goals. Thank you again to Ryan for your leadership. It's impressive, but also kind of annoying that he's so smart and seems to have the right answers and strategies. I'm just glad that even when we disagree, we are both looking out for the city's best interests and are on the same team. And thank you to each of you, Mayor and Council, for continuing to entrust me in this role. It will be almost 5 years, and every day is still different and challenging, which is a big part of why I love being the city attorney.
Well, I'm going to open this up to the council. Have you all had a chance to meet and visit with her on the contract and prepared? So I would just like to go first and say when Ryan and I and Isaac first got here, it was not uncommon to hear we're trying to move the city forward, and why aren't we moving forward? It's stuck in legal. It's illegal. You know, it was at a time that there was a lot of stuff going on, and we just couldn't move the city as the way we wanted to go. We had a great city attorney at the time, but there was a lot of stuff in the system, and I recognize that since you've come in and grown the company past Sandra now, we don't hear that it's stuck in legal anymore. You know, things are moving out of there at the pace of business that Isaac says we move at the speed of business. And so I want to compliment you on that when nobody's actually talking about you, it's almost a form of recognition, you know, because they used to talk about where there are challenges or problems. We don't hear about the legal being a challenge or a problem anymore. So I want to compliment you on that. And I think I'll just go down the line and see what our council thinks about this. Councilman Barone?
Thank you, Mayor. Of course, Counselor, by yourself, you know, you're an excellent jurist. You're an accomplished attorney. You were before you came here. I think where your value is, more than anything else, though, is in your leadership. Yeah, some of the people were already here when you got here, but you have really molded them into an elite legal team. And you can only have an elite legal team if you have fantastic leadership. You know, the Lakers were the Lakers not because, you know, they had any one person, because they had an entire team, but they also had an excellent person to mold them, and that's what you've done. We look at the quality of the talent that you've brought over, and for the public that's listening, you should understand that, you know, our attorneys here, if they were out in the market, maybe I shouldn't even say this, they'd command a salary higher than we could possibly give here at the municipal level. They come and they do the work, defend the city, because they believe in what we do. They like their job, they love their team, And a lot of that has to do with your vision of leadership. And it's an elite force. You have like the Delta team of legal of jurisprudence. Okay, we have the current president of the Latino Bar Association, the immediate past president. They're on your staff, and those are people who you've either brought in or you've guided for them to reach a higher level. And this level of how much that they can put out is shared not just on the civic side, but also shared by the criminal. As the mayor said, right, you guys are making an impact way larger than your actual numbers. I won't mention how many attorneys are in a certain city to the south, but it's way more than your team. But you guys are punching way past your weight level, way above it. And again, it's a testament, quite frankly, to your leadership. And with that, I know my hat's off to you, and we're very lucky to have you in our employ. Thank you so very much.
Hello. The public, for the most part, doesn't understand what the responsibilities of a city attorney is, and how important the city attorney and manager are to a council. The briefings that we get from yourself, and I have to include Ryan because we're doing Ryan right after, so a lot of what I'm saying, I don't want to be redundant in nature, but, you brief us, you let us know very timely what's going on, you educate us, and to me, that's you can't put a dollar sign or a value on that because it allows us to do our job the best that we can for our constituents and for our taxpayers here. And my friend here, Councilman Barone, touched on the salaries. Sometimes people on the outside looking in, the only thing that they Google or look at is the salary of, the people, whether it be a council person or a city manager or whomever, and they're amazed at the amount of money that they're making, meaning that it's so much money. But if they would take the time to find out exactly the service that these employees provide to the city and the cost savings over a period of 12 months, it doesn't even come close. Doesn't even come close. So I remember somebody saying you pretty much get what you pay for. And what I didn't want to happen over here in North Las Vegas when I got on council, and even before that, was to be the training ground for other municipalities. That, you put your time in over here, you get your sea legs, we pay you okay, and then you get called by another municipality to work. Well, we pay exactly what we feel, at least as much as we can, that you're worth, and I don't think that you could put a dollar figure on that. So I have a personal friendship for all of you and respect. So, and I don't speak from any notes over here, but I appreciate what you do, and you're good to go in my book for as long as you want. So thank you for all you do, and your staff, of course, as well.
Councilman Black.
Thank you, Mayor Lee. As I listened to Michaela's report, obviously she's our city attorney, and she's a great leader and a very capable attorney, but she has assembled a great team, and we can shower accolades and talk about accomplishments right now, but really what matters is the day-to-day things that you do. I've had interactions with Michaela on a very regular interval and received a great deal of guidance and direction and legal insight that enables me to feel confident about the job that I'm trying to do and doing it in the best manner possible. And then if you take that a step further to her team, I've interacted with a number of your team, but I've interacted very, I'd say, frequently with Andy Moore because of some of the boards and committees that I'm on and have chaired. And just an extension of Michaela, just his aptitude and experience and commitment to the detail of the law that has helped me to be confident in my role at the housing authority or the health district or the workforce connections. And so I just want to say thank you through Michaela to your team for a really confidence. I have a great deal of confidence in the team that we have, and that makes life really good when you're trying to do your best, knowing that you're being guided in a great way. And then the other word, so confidence is one word, and the other word that comes to my mind really is brilliance. I mean, you just have a brilliant team that you lead, and you're a brilliant person. The accolades and the accomplishments and the leadership, both here at the city and regionally, are indicative of that brilliance that is present. I appreciate Mayor Lee occasionally asking me. I'm a man of a person of faith, and I believe in God, and I like to pray. And so he asked me to pray once in a while, and it's humbling, because I'm not a pastor or a minister. But today I prayed for the city employees that they would have a measure of fulfillment in the work that they do, and I hope that that's the case. That was a sincere desire that I have, because the work is hard, the work is challenging. Sometimes it's overwhelming, but it's very meaningful, very important. And I hope that in addition to the pay and the compensation, that there is a fulfillment. And I think there is, just by the way I interact with these folks and how happy they seem to be committed to this cause that we're in. So the last thing I would say, Councilman Churchill talked about, the revolving door and the training ground or whatever. We have brilliant people here. We want to retain them. We want to retain you. We want you to retain your team and continue to build that team. Compensation is what it is. But I would, if it's appropriate at this point, we're talking about ratifying a contract. I would like to put on the table a bonus for Michaela as the leader of the legal department and as our city attorney, because we've been through unprecedented times and have had to do things in ways that were never contemplated before because of the pandemic. So as we go forward with a motion, I would love to include in that a $15,000 bonus one time, just to say thank you for the tremendous work that has been done on the city's behalf. So that concludes my comments, Mayor Lee.
We're not going to do that today.
We're not going to do that today?
No.
Okay.
I don't mind the thought.
Okay.
But that's a council decision. And
I wasn't making a motion. I was just putting it out there for in the atmosphere to see if, that's just my thought. So.
Yeah, I haven't been briefed on that.
Okay.
And but I do say that there was a time that Michaela and Ryan, when everyone else got their percentages of raises and cost of living, they got nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that's what we're talking about.
It is, but I'm just sharing my sentiments.
Okay,
So,
all right.
Yeah, you
because
bet.
It's not fair to them that they missed out on those months they worked when there was
Right.
no money available to discuss that. Is that what we're doing here? That's what I'm thinking.
Well, so if I might, and again, I wasn't briefed on it either. That's just my own thoughts and idea relative to what we've been through in the pandemic.
Yeah.
The doing more and going without, not receiving increases previously, those all factor in. But really, in my mind, it's just a matter of commitment to the cause, commitment to the work, putting in the extra time, making decisions in difficult circumstances that have been favorable for the city, all those things, including not being compensated in the past. So,
So those kind of things we can discuss as a
Certainly.
council. But I
You
don't
bet.
want to just. I'd give you a raise if I could. But
All
we
right.
need to discuss that a little bit.
I don't deserve it.
Ms. Goins-Brown?
And I don't know if we can even put a price tag on how valuable the city attorney's office is to all of us and to our constituents. So if I was going to give a testimony today, it would be that I think words don't explain the gratitude I feel for the city attorney's office and how you make the city a safe place and how you make the city shine and make us look good. And when we're dealing with our constituents and other issues, and then just to know what you all do on a day-to-day basis just speaks volume on how much intelligence is in your offices. And just to prove that, we have other jurisdictions reaching out to us to say, what are you doing? How are you doing it? And so that just shows you that we do our due diligence. We know our stuff. That's not the word I want to use, but we know our stuff. And you guys just make me feel proud to know that you have our back and we have your back as well. And then just at the level of services that's provided speaks volumes in my book. So And it's just hard to be. It's been 5 years already. Wow. So guaranteed another 5 to 10-ish or more is the plan. So we'll keep you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So, Council, I think we're very proud of this young lady, and we're twice as proud of the team that she's built. And congratulations on winning the hearts of their employers that think that well of you. So, anyway, at this point in time, the chair will take a motion to approve the amended contract for City Attorney Michaela Moore.
Let's make a motion to approve the amended contract.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved. Moving on to item number 24. Oh, did I miss 23?
Oh, I was just going to go to 24. You would have got me.
We have another presentation to discuss our wonderful city manager that we have. So,
Item number 23, discuss interaction regarding the annual review and proposed amended contract of City Manager Ryan Juden.
thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you. Would you take a couple minutes now and maybe explain some of the successes that you've had and how your work year has gone?
Yes, sir, I will. I have a PowerPoint. Michaela said that I don't need a presentation. She said, quote, just tell them I won the Cashman Good Government Award, yo. So that's basically what she said with the yo and all. But I do have a presentation. And this is always kind of a little difficult for me. Actually, it's difficult to even do this. What do I push the button? I'm not sure how to advance it. Is it down here? So it's always difficult for me on this because the reality is everything that I'm going to talk about was done by our team members. It was done under the direction of our directors and their leadership, and it was our team members that were able to accomplish everything that's happened. And despite the challenges that we've had from COVID-19, the impacts of the pandemic on our economy, we've been able to really thrive as a city this past year, and that's the results of all of our bargaining groups, their efforts, their leadership, every one of our team members, our employees, directors, all of them. Next slide. So first of all, our pandemic health response, you can see here that we've had a tremendous response under Chief Calhoun and Chief Anderson's leadership. We administered more than 100,000 doses of COVID vaccine. This effort was not required. It was above and beyond. It wasn't something that we had to do. This was something that was a mandate for the state. But we really jumped in there despite the fact that maybe other jurisdictions didn't have the same response. But without even any other thought, they knew that this was what they needed to do, and our team jumped. They were able to increase vaccination rates among the most vulnerable populations. Director Moriarty and his team created a highly successful registration portal for just $6,000. I think the state spent $6 million. I don't remember how many. They spent millions of dollars on a system that didn't work so well. And Dennis and his team were able to put up a system for limited amount of dollars that didn't crash and didn't have the same kind of problems. Just tremendous example of hard work and going above and beyond in the extra mile. And you could see all the other wonderful things that we did in response to the pandemic. On the next slide, please. Oh, you just pushing a button? I can push a button. Oh, you're doing more than just a button?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you do your thing. On the economic response, this once again was the work of many people, from Director Calvo, Director Easter, that we were able to secure CARES dollars and then make sure that this was something that was distributed throughout the city. And I think that everyone knows that it was consistently recognized as a model throughout the state of the stewardship and the disbursement of these dollars. We went further this year with the efforts that were implemented by Council last year in SNUMA, and we implemented Learn in LV. and began the efforts to ensure high-quality education for all residents of North Las Vegas. There's still a lot of work to be done here, but I want to applaud the team for the efforts that they made this past year. They created the North Las Vegas Small Business Connector, which is a very innovative program that's first of its kind here in City Hall. We're very excited to see the kind of outcomes that comes from that effort. Next slide. With job creation diversification, we didn't miss a beat, despite all the challenges that were happening with change in leadership there. We were able to, Director Luke was able to come in, and with the very capable team, Terry, Bill, and Alan, who we all work very closely with, they were able to continue the efforts. You see here the different things, and continuing to recruit Fortune 500 companies and global brands to the community, creating thousands of good-paying jobs. And we're excited that this next year is going to kick off with even more efforts in this area based on the work that's been done this past year of getting that 135-acre job creation zone ready. And we're excited to see that what comes of that in this coming year. But they didn't miss a beat despite all the challenges that were happening. In the next slide, you'll see that public safety has continued to grow within the city. We continue to have challenges that are experienced by other jurisdictions in recruitment and being able to keep talent. But I believe that there's been strides that have been made. Chief Ojeda and Chief Gravatt and their teams have done well as the Chief Calhoun and Chief Anderson in hiring dozens of first responders to provide for our residents. We're going to be bringing this body some additional programs and innovative ideas in the next, probably next couple months, actually. I think we're getting close to being able to further increase public safety for the residents of North Las Vegas. As Michaela mentioned, the creation of the North Las Vegas CARE program, that court that under the direction of council and the efforts of really her brainchild and kind of being able to provide more services to our court, and that being overlaying with what Director Baker's doing over at the corrections facility is really creating a unique opportunity for North Las Vegas to try out different things. It's really exciting to sit with Renee and hear her vision and thoughts of things that can be done in order to improve the lives of our residents. She has some very exciting things that she's working on as far as to increase the therapeutic nature of what's going on at the corrections facility, which is augmented and supported by what's going on in the care court. And it's really exciting to see what's going on there. Under Director Calvo's leadership, we've established the Homeless Outreach and Mobile Engagement Team. This is something where we're really engaged in looking at homelessness, a problem that faces all jurisdictions in urban settings across the country. And while there's a lot of data points out there and there's a lot of information out there, I'm very excited to see what this very capable team does. I've already shared with you all throughout the last few months since its inception the successes that it's having in literally saving lives. The numbers of people that they're helping all have names, and those names are people that have been significantly had their lives impacted by this work that's going on. And we're very excited to see as we get more data points and are able to move the metrics to see how we can further enhance the opportunities and enhance the programming that's being provided to our residents through this effort. Under the next slide of quality of life, I remember a few years ago whenever the mayor was, I don't know if he was upset, but he was wondering why we were listed as one of the most boring cities in Nevada. Or not actually in the country. We were one of the most boring cities in the country, which I thought wasn't horrible. You could be a lot worse things. Boring's not terribly bad, but it was exciting this year to see that we were named one of the 20 most livable towns and cities in America by Outside Magazine. Based on the diversity, sustainability, affordability, and outdoor events that we have here in the city. I think that these efforts that have happened here in the consent agenda you all mentioned, and I appreciate the things that you said about my leadership in bringing a team here. But in reality, it's the culture and climate that was created by decisions that are made by this council that have afforded me the opportunity to be able to attract talent. There was a time whenever you almost had to be crazy to apply for positions in the city of North Las Vegas because it was well known that it was in receivership, on the verge of bankruptcy, and it wasn't really maybe a good career move. But that's something that's changed, and so I would not have been able to bring in the kind of tremendous talent without the decisions that were made by this body to move us from, I don't know, maybe we're still boring, but move us into a livable, sustainable community. The efforts to expand Restaurant Row, sometimes I forget about some of the restaurants that are down there as I'm going to lunch, as I'm driving down, like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's just an incredible amenity that's been added through a lot of the decisions and hard work that's happened in this very room. I'm excited about what's happening at the AMP as far as a real opportunity to create this, to turn this into a community creator, where we can build community through the events that are happening there, to add an amenity. I think you all have been to different events at the amphitheater and have, I know I have anyways, during the event almost been like, wow, this is just such a tremendous asset that we have that just doesn't get out there enough. And so the efforts that are being made there by Director Palmer and his team to really bring the AMP to the forefront as a community builder within the city of North Las Vegas. And those are some of the things we've done to increase the quality of life. You can see other bullet points on there. But just tremendous effort has been made by the team in doing this. Housing and infrastructure. We're on pace to process over 13,000 building permits with a valuation of over $1 billion in back-to-back years. This is incredible. It's incredible the effort that goes into this from our directors, from Director Jordan and others, and what his team is able to do in order to keep this progress moving in housing and infrastructure, with the amounts of permits that they're pulling and they're working with, and inspections that they're doing, and everything that goes into moving at the speed of business, as the mayor says. And we do have a record-breaking 15-year high for residential building permits. Incredible communities that are coming online within the city. The efforts that have been made, under Councilman Barone's leadership of affordable housing and the different projects that have broken ground to really start to respond to this. Part of the dollars that were provided by the federal government, the council's already determined are being put into a bucket to help increase affordable housing. I know there's different conversations that are going on in this coming years, next year, of what we're going to be doing in that arena. But these are just some of the different milestones that we've reached in housing and infrastructure. In government and administration, we were just tremendous efforts by our grant team and able to really maximize the number of grants and the value of grants that are coming into the city. The great thing about what Director Easter and his team are doing is they're not just going and finding money that wags the dog. They're actually taking programs and priorities set by this council, and he's finding dollars to help support those efforts and support that direction and guidance, and not having the direction and guidance, just whatever the money is, that's what we're going to do. So just great effort on that team. We've also done some realignment to create departments and divisions that strengthen the services that we provide for our residents, some realignment that we've had within leadership to make sure that priorities that are put forward by this council are being staffed and provided the resources that are necessary. As was evidenced in the consent agenda, we brought on a number of new team members, and I think we just have some really been making and bringing some incredible talent to help in supporting and sustaining our efforts throughout the city. I want to thank City Attorney Michaela Moore for her team and their efforts and their ability to stand with us as team members as we work to make sure that we're protecting the residents, and her business acumen and the minds of her teams as well as herself are just tremendous partners in management's ability to accomplish the goals and the priorities that are set by this body. I want to also thank Chief of Staff Gibson and her talent and wisdom and the things that she's working on. She's just been such a tremendous little spark in everything that she's doing. I know that there's value that her and her team of liaisons are bringing as they interface with council and making sure that you all's priorities are properly operationalized and put within the bureaucracy so that they can successfully be accomplished and obtained. And our assistant city managers, Dylan Goldberg and Alfredo Malesio, are just, I don't know if I want to call them wingmen, but because they're wing persons, I guess because Dylan's in there, but just great 1-2 punch in our ability to take a lot of the stuff that we do and do more. There were times in these last couple years where we've approached things based on prioritization of council, and I've gone to other entities in the valley and said, hey, we're doing this. What do you think? You want to join with us? And almost always the comment back is, oh, well, we're just trying to run a city. Like, that's a really good initiative. That's a really good thing, but we're just trying to keep the buses running on time. And to have the team that we have in place that's able to go above and beyond and go the extra mile and address problems and challenges within the city that aren't traditionally faced by municipal government, or municipal government stays in its lane and doesn't really move into those other areas because someone else is there, even if they're not doing a good job. I just think the talent of our team and being able to go that extra mile, increase their vision and address challenges wherever they happen, regardless of what they think their job spec or what the city should be doing, and just do it with such gusto and such excitement and success. And so I just want to, I'm sure there's people that I did not mention, and I just want to thank everybody for all the efforts that have happened this year. It's a complete team effort.
Did that conclude your presentation?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Councilman Barone, we're going to start with you and just work our way down again.
I've never seen this before. I've actually had a couple of people text me here in Spanish. Qué bueno que le están extendiendo los contratos, el número 22 y 23 de la agenda de hoy. And another person actually sent me this. Son los mejores de toda la región. In other words, it's good that you guys are extending the contracts there in 22 and 23. I guess one still hasn't done yet, so we haven't extended it yet. And, yeah, I do agree. We do have the best team in the region. Everything I said, I think, before, it pretty much holds true. The difference is, Mr. City Manager, is that you're not just our city leader here. You're a regional leader. A lot of things that go on with some of our other friends here and the other government entities, well, it was crazy North Las Vegas that did it first. And it wasn't that long ago when, Mayor, again, people were probably questioning you, what you were doing when you were running for mayor. Because, again, as you pointed out, the exact word was crazy North Las Vegas. With that, our city staff has stuck with us for so long, who have been with us before the implosion of the Grand Recession. I want to thank them also for sticking with us, because many of you could have probably found a job somewhere else when it looked like the city had gotten rid of, unfortunately, about half of its personnel here. You guys stayed with us. Several of you, of course, survived that implosion, and we couldn't have rebuilt the city without your help. And there's many of you who I've gone to personally and helped me out with decisions that we got going forward. And that I know I myself, and I think our city owes a lot to the people who stayed with us. We also owe a lot to the people that have come on board. You've been the architect on that one. I think if I like to, and I do watch movies and I do read books. I think you're Gurney Halleck. If anyone here reads Dune, we have the Gurney Halleck of the city managers here, who is running our city. Again, the things that the things that he's done in the past that have prepared him to be the leader here. We're all very lucky. We almost lost him too. We're very lucky that he actually decided to stay with us, and with that, he moved the city into another direction. Just two little things that I'll point out. Number one, during the dark days of the COVID, we shut our libraries down. It had been really easy to go ahead and take all of our librarians and lay them off. You would have had a couple dozen people who would have been, again, on unemployment, right? But instead, you and your team came up with a creative way to use them, to actually reach out to all of our businesses, to reach out to people who needed to get vaccinations. That made a huge difference. I didn't see anybody else doing that. That was you and your team that came up with it. That was you trusting your team to come up with creative solutions. Not every leader has the guts to go ahead and reach out to people and cast that wide net. You're another one. Hey, you're like Captain Picard. You're not the cowboy. You're the one who asks for a solution and gets them from a very creative and talented staff. And again, it's hard to be that kind of a leader. There's a lot of other leaders here in the community who, well, they're not measuring up. And unfortunately, I'm not going to go ahead and beat them up. But there's a certain place that has 3 letters that if you go there, the lines go out the freaking door and you can't even get in there. And, hey, speaking of that, hey, what other entity is doing online inspections? Now people don't have to wait all darn day for an inspector to come for something minor, that you need to have done. Instead, we have online inspections. That's the first entity, I think, in the state to do this, right? We're pioneers. And a lot of these things, they're attributable to you, to your leadership style, and your team. There was once, if we were like, if this city was an arrow, the city council, we might be backing you up. We might be the shaft, but you're the tip of the spear. You're that tip, and you probably also with the city manager, with their city attorney, provide the fletching to guide us where we're going. I think I ran out of metaphors, but I think you understand what I mean. We're fortunate to have you, and I look forward to other innovations. I can't wait to see what you and your team pull out of the hat. Anyhow, it's great to have you.
Councilman Churchio.
I forgot what I was going to say now. Let me just say this. It's important for us to have a very, very strong manager, but I think it's as important for that manager to be a very down-to-earth, good person. And that's what I like the most about Ryan. Prior to Ryan being our city manager, briefings were kind of sporadic, but I guess somewhat informative at the time as well. But it's changed, measurably so, that I actually look forward to our briefings, because it's not just having the city manager brief us or brief me on something. It's a conversation back and forth where he could kind of understand what my concerns are. I could listen to him. It's a matter of trust between us. And all of the things that my colleague just said, are all, of course, true. But it's that thinking outside the box. It's that willingness to go out of the lane, so to speak, where it may be somewhat uncomfortable, but to do so makes the community better, because at the end of the day, everything that we do here is about our residents and our families, our kids, making it better. It's not just a job. It's truly a public service to the community. And I know that our city manager understands that. And I could just tell, by him taking notes when we talk about things, and I share my concerns with him, my thoughts. I know it doesn't fall on deaf ears, and that's extremely important to me. Doesn't mean that everything I ask for it's going to get a thumbs up. But I know that after the briefing, he's going to go back and he's going to see if he can make it happen for all of us. And that's so important to me. And I can't say thank you enough for doing that. So I'm very proud to have you as a friend, and very fortunate for the city to have you as a city manager here. So thank you.
Councilman Black?
I've really enjoyed these fantastic comments about what you have done in connection with your team. I just wanted to add a few things. The slides that were presented really encompass a lot of accomplishments and a lot of benefit to our residents. But one thing that I don't think was pointed out was that those were all done in a global pandemic, which is really remarkable in and of itself. And I think Ryan and I were talking once before. He gets paid to think, and he thinks 24 hours a day, and he's a great strategist, and he's a very intelligent person. And I agree with both Councilman Barone and Councilman Churchio that we're very fortunate to have you working here. You know, you have a choice. You have a great resume. You have great talent. You probably write your ticket and work wherever you want. And so I'm thankful that you want to be the council's, one of our two employees. And when I was looking at those slides, the two that really meant the most to me are the ones that are outward facing, meaning customer facing. We've worked really hard under Mayor Lee's leadership and your efforts and the team's effort to stabilize ourselves such that we can, provide the services to the residents. So when I see quality of life, when I see public safety, making those investments in those programs, do we have a ways to go? Absolutely, but we're making progress in meaningful ways that are noticeable and meaningful to the residents. And I think that really speaks volumes to where we're heading as a city. Thank you.
Councilwoman Goins-Brown?
Gosh, can I just say ditto? Words that just come to mind for you, Ryan, are that you're the planner. You're directing, you're managing, you are reviewing all activities of the city, you're a coordinator. You execute plans, you're a leader, and then most of all, you're extremely passionate about what you do and when you do. And it takes a real special person to have those kind of qualities and still come to work with a smile on your face every day and just make sure that we have everything that we need as a council. So I appreciate you and just echo everything my colleagues have said as well.
And I'll just finish up. I know, Ryan, we came together the first day into the building, and I came up with a new word called skeptimistic. I was skeptical if we could pull this up, but I was optimistic if anybody could do it, it'd be this new team that had come in that could look at things differently, and adjust and to see the team that we built around us, and then to continue to move forth. And just because we got back to even, that was just a starting line to make up for all the years that we lost behind. As we kept moving faster and faster, and with some of the great Sandra and Darren and some of these wonderful Mark Sauls, these people came into our lives and committed to the dream that the council had, that we would survive. Well, we're not skeptic, mystic anymore. We've proven ourselves. We're the strongest city in the state right now. We've got the best balance sheet, but we're still not satisfied with where we're at. We still want to be totally independent of what happens in the economies, what happens with terrorism, stuff like that. We want to build a city that's resistant now. And, as I look at the leadership that you allow, as I do you, and we treat this as a company through the social contract. The taxpayer gives us money, we provide services back to them. But the way you let your partners, your directors, run their businesses on their own. They come to you for advice, but we let them run their companies, And in each case, these directors have just grown in that position. These guys are ready to leave this kind of environment, go in the public industry anytime they want. They're prepared. They're money makers. So I just want to tell you that I appreciate you. You've put in 8 years here, and we've stood beside you. We've watched you. We've grown from you, and we've respected the decisions that you've made. You and Michaela are just two of the fantastic leaders within the local government issue in the state of Nevada, and I'm just proud to be a partner to you guys. Thank you very much. So with that, unless there's any more comments or questions, the chair will call for a motion to approve the amended contract for the city manager, Ryan Juden.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the amended contract.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved. Congratulations to both of you. Moving on to ordinances introduction only. Mark Jordan.
Did we skip item 24?
Or did I miss one? Oh, I thought Ryan's took so long. I thought I heard it.
I just thought you wanted Mark to
Item
read
24.
Mark.
Just kind of happy
Thanks for
about
not embarrassing me publicly,
Yeah, Mike,
Mark.
would you-
I'll read item 24, Mayor Council.
Item 24.
Pass and adopt resolution number 2674, expressing the city's intent to sell approximately 1.39 acres, more or less, of real property generally located at the northwest corner of Martin L. King Boulevard and June Avenue in North Las Vegas, Nevada, identified as successors parcels numbers 13916310086 and 139163100 and 087 through a competitive sale for a minimum price of $159,375 pursuant to NRS 268.063 and 268.062.
Thank you. I don't think there's a presentation as Ms. Goins-Brown. Did you want to respond to this?
Thank you, Mayor. This has just been a long process, and it seems like it's finally coming to fruition. And we're just looking for great things to happen on those 9 parcels, and that whatever development is there is just going to be an asset to that corner. And if there's no other comments or questions,
I think this is it.
okay, then I'll make a motion to approve.
I think we have a motion, Ms. Goins-Brown. Please cast your vote. Items approved. Now moving on to ordinances introduction only. Director
Mayor.
Jordan.
Mayor, Council. Item 25, introduce ordinance number 3098, an ordinance related to zoning, reclassifying approximately 39.97 plus or minus acres from the PCD Planned Community Development District to PSP PCD Public Facility Planned Community Development District, ZN 23-2021, Tule Springs, or a police substation and regional park for property located at the northwest corner of Deer Springs Way and Revere Street, and providing for other matters property related thereto. Item 26, introduce ordinance number 3099, an ordinance related to zoning, reclassifying approximately 4.5 plus or minus acres from the C1 Neighborhood Commercial District to PUD Planned Unit Development District, Planned Infill Development District, ZN 24-2021, Durrell and Commerce, for a 30-unit, 2-family residential development and an existing multi-tower telecommunications facility for property located at the northwest corner of Durrell Lane and Commerce Street, and providing for other matters property related thereto.
Thank you very much. Now moving on to City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, and thank you for the words that you expressed. I appreciate it. Took some notes on some of them too. I appreciate the feedback and thoughts. One of the only really thing I wanted to point out in this is, we had a real community leader in Stanley, Washington that passed away. Was it on Monday or this last weekend? Yeah, last week. And Stanley's someone who's come regularly to council and has been a real tenacious fighter for the things that he believes in, and has been, without a doubt, a fighter for his community and for our community and for the interests that he supported. So I just wanted to point that out. I know you all know, but he was a real gem that was lost. And with that, that's all. I've already talked enough this meeting, but just wanted to add that.
Hey, I'll move just into your area just a little bit. I just wanted to make notice. It came to my attention a little while ago. I don't know if anybody here ever knew the name Wendell Waite. He was a former city councilman, 2 times mayor pro tem. He lived in North Las Vegas for many years. He was a teacher at Jim Bridger High School, Jim Bridger Junior High School, where I went to school. And he served 9 years on the city council and the regional and the boards and stuff like that. Gave great years of his life of service. Up there on Craig Road, the Golden Triangle. And Ms. Goins-Brown, your father, would have been friends with him, I know. They put that Golden Triangle, the first industrial park in North Las Vegas, together. Very visionary man, wonderful family. They're still here in our community. And I just wanted to take a minute and just let you know that one of our great giants has passed. And so now we're we're leaving the city manager's report, and we're going to move into the second public forum. Now, this is a time set aside for comment on any item that you would like to talk to the city council. We ask that you limit your comments no more than 3 minutes. And remember, we can hear what you have to say here, but we can't act upon that or deliberate on that. But this is just taking in information only. So at this time, I have a blue card from a Miss Casey Holcomb, or is it Mr. or Miss? It's K. I don't know if it's Holcomb. Pardon me. And welcome to the city council meeting.
How are you?
Thank you.
I'm nervous. I'm here because I called the number for traffic lights. I'm new in the area.
Could you speak up a little for me?
Okay.
Is
I'm new in the area.
On?
Is it on? It's on.
It is on. Okay.
Okay. I'm new in the area. I live off of 5th and Rome. You know that? I don't know if you know the area. It's a new development community, Morning Ridge. And I'm here for traffic lights because I have small children. When we get ready to go back to work, if they have to walk home, I want them to feel safe off of 5th and Rome and Donna and Centennial Parkway. And also, sometimes the buses are late picking them up and late dropping them off, the school buses. So that's my concern, being a single mother, not sure when Social Security will go back to work, but my concern is my children. One time they had to walk home. They didn't wait, and they crossed that big old light, or the street, rather, I say, on 5th and Rome. And the cars, my son, Isaac, who is 10, 5th grade, said the cars had to honk the horn, for the traffic to stop down. So, and him and his sister, she's 6 in elementary school. So that's my concern, some traffic lights on 5th and Rome and Donna and Centennial Parkway. Because next year, I'll have 3 going in 3 directions. And I want to feel safe that they'll get home because the buses may be late, may break down, or maybe I'll have to pay for safe key, which is more money. So that's why I'm here. I'm glad I'm here, Mr. Ryan, right? I want to meet you after the meeting, okay?
Well,
Thank you.
Ms. Huck, welcome to North Las Vegas for
Thank
sure.
you.
That handsome young man right there that has a San Francisco 49ers face mask on.
Oh, that's not Denver or Kansas City, so that won't work.
But he's our traffic guy. He's
Okay.
the expert. And
Okay.
so I'm sure he'll meet you up in sidebar here and just spend a moment with you, okay?
Okay, thank you. I would like to meet you too as well.
Well, that'd be fine too. But I know we got an expert here for you right now.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
well, thank you so much. Anybody else from the public that would like to come forth in City Hall and address the City Council? Seeing no one. Do we have anybody on the phone, Miss Jackie?
No, Mr. Mayor, we do not.
Madam Clerk says we have nobody here, so this meeting is adjourned.